What is your worst birthday ever story? On my 10th birthday, I received a total of $200 from my friends. My neighbor had those electric pocket rockets that I always wanted for myself. So me and my mom went to the store and finally bought it. But when my dad saw it later that day, he said, "What the frick is this crap, return it now." Eventually he returned it and kept the money for himself. What a dong. On my 22nd birthday, my housemate's girlfriend insisted we go out. She kept badgering me about it until I named a local place that was semi-expensive. I also said Chili's. She kept pushing for the more expensive place, insisting it was my special day. We got there. She looked at the menus and immediately threw a fit, complaining she couldn't afford anything. When her boyfriend attempted to buy her a meal, she declined him multiple times and refused to share his as a compromise. For the rest of the night we ate in silence, interrupted by her complaining about hunger pangs and how anyone could afford the place she had insisted we all go to. Ugh, I have one of those types of girls in my life. On my 21st birthday, a family friend who is an old lady invited me and my family to a dinner with her and her family, because by the lunar calendar her birthday was on the same day as mine. Her family and my parents can all speak Cantonese. I cannot. They decided to go to a seafood restaurant. I am allergic to most seafoods. I spent my 21st birthday sitting at a table full of people not saying anything and not eating anything, because I couldn't do either. Everything was going well until I sat down with an opened birthday badge in my trouser pocket. The pin pierced my testicle and I had to go to A&E. My 15th birthday was on holiday with my bio dad and stepmom, who despised me and my sister. My dad wished me a happy birthday and asked me what I would like to do. Before I could answer, my stepmother insisted she needed a new pair of shoes. I spent my 15th birthday sitting quietly in the corner of a shoe shop while somebody who hated me and wanted to alienate me from my father tried on endless pairs of shoes that he would buy for her. Maybe for your father's next birthday you can buy him a pair of balls. In kindergarten I was gonna have a big birthday party with all my friends and they all came to the party except my best friend, who was really excited to come. He died in a car accident on the way to my party. OMG, that's horrible. I'm so sorry. My family paid for me and my girlfriend at the time to go out for a really expensive meal for my 21st birthday. The entire meal came to $300. She broke up with me as I was driving her back home. My GF and I were pretty much breaking up during my birthday one year. She still got me a present and waited until after the weekend I celebrated on. Yeah, it sucked, but at least she was a human being about it. Sounds like your ex was a real C. Sorry about that one, mate. Half my childhood, my birthday usually came a week after my first report card, and I got punished as a result with either no birthday or a bitter birthday with just me and my parents, who would stare at me disappointedly, or my mother was drunk and forgot. My birthdays since then have been pretty good, though. TLDR. My scumbag half-sister ruins the surprise of a huge party, then ruins the party itself. Backstory: I have a half-sister that is known in the family for being a giant loose butthole 24/7. My other siblings and I, for various reasons, have pretty much alienated her as we've grown to adults. My 18th birthday was intended to be a huge surprise, one that had been planned by my sister, mother, and grandmother for weeks. Everything perfectly set, down to the T. The eve of my birthday, my half-whited half-sister over our family dinner explained to me in great detail everything that was planned for my birthday, as if I was supposed to know. The worst part was, she continued to talk over my family members as they tried to shut her up. Family fight erupts, leaving my mother and sister crying over their failed surprise. Icing on the cake, on my actual birthday, said half-sister shows up 3 hours late to the party, after all the surprise is over. Then, as I'm opening presents, decides it's best to share how she had found a pair of a young girl's underwear in a sketchy alleyway near her work, and how she can only imagine the worst. The uncomfortable vibe couldn't be broken after that and the party quickly died down. Whoa, loose butthole indeed. When I was 5 I had a large birthday party at my house with everyone from my neighborhood and kindergarten class. We had a clown and a bounce house and everything. After the clown performed we all got in the pool and the next thing I know my dad is yelling at this kid, "Don't let go of the dang cat." The kid let go of my brand new kitten and it went straight up in the air because he tied all of the balloons to its collar. So, we all watched my kitten get hung and disappear almost 29 years ago. Oh my god. I'm so sorry. My birthday is at the very end of January. So often this coincides with the Super Bowl. 16th birthday was going to be a Super Bowl party. Gave out a ton of invites, paper and verbal. Had a bunch of people say they would swing by either for the whole thing or for the first half. Blah blah blah. Put out snacks. Had the game on the big screen. Only had 2 people show up and they didn't even come inside. They just dropped off a small cake on their way to a different Super Bowl party. At halftime I finally gave up hope that anyone else was showing up and told my mom to put the snacks away as I was going to bed. I've seen some terrible birthday stories, but this made me feel the saddest. Broke my clavicle the day before. Had surgery on my birthday morning. Spent the rest of the day loaded on oxy. Now that I think about it, it probably wasn't that bad. LOL, being on oxy makes a bad day pretty good eventually. My best friend's brother died suddenly. She asked me to throw a party to make her forget about it and she was thankful, though I felt crap about it. She shared a room with him, so she stayed with me for 3 nights and I had to hold her as she cried. After she left I took down all my birthday cards and refused to open any presents. After the weekend someone had a go at me for being selfish. It was pretty crap. You are a good friend. My wife hates going to the movies, so for my birthday one year she relented and took me to one I had been dying to see. This was all her idea and when she told me what we were doing I was super excited. As we are pulling up to the theater she starts guilting me with, "Do you really want to go see this?" And guess what? We didn't. 2 years ago she was going to cook my favorite meal for me but put it off until the last minute and so then made some bull's excuse about how she had plans to take me and the kids out for dinner. We get all loaded up in the car and she says, "Where do you want to go?" She had no plans. I was pee but I picked a place but the wait was too long for her, so we fought and I ended up eating a bowl of Chex for my birthday dinner. She will make elaborate plans for anyone and everyone else's birthday, but when it comes to mine she uses it as an excuse to give me a big frick you. That's not cool. For my 9th birthday, my mom planned a surprise party for me. All of my friends would be waiting at my house after I got home from school and we were gonna have a great time. Nobody showed up. Every parent kept their kid home. I ate cake with my family alone until one family friend showed up. I was born on the 11th of September, 1992. As a bonus, I came into school wearing a huge smile, completely unaware of what was going on. Everyone called me a terrorist for years. It doesn't help that I'm brown. I'm sorry about the ignorance of the people who harassed you for years after. I turned 22 in my first year living in Canada. I didn't have many friends yet. Those friends I did have were students and had gone home for the holidays, and my family back in NZ either forgot or just didn't call. I lived alone, so I spent the day in bed drinking whiskey and watching TV. I did that for my first Christmas in London. It wasn't that bad really. I threw up in a bull pit at Chuck E. Cheese's on my 5th birthday. It was one of those mostly liquid ones, so there was no salvation for the rest of the kids in there. I still go into bull pits when I see them, but I won't anymore. My dear God. I spent my 14th birthday in the children's hospital for anorexia complications. They made me wear a crown all day and gave me a cake that I did not want to eat. My only visitor that day was my mom because my brother had sports and my dad had work stuff. Not a completely awful birthday, but my worst. Also, happy birthday to you. I hope your day gets better and I hope it turns into the most wonderful birthday ever. Thank you. Anorexia is a B. Sorry to hear about that. On my 9th birthday my mum took me and 6 girls from my class to the cinema. About 10 minutes into the movie she says, "Gonna go get another Coke. You guys want anything?" We said no thanks. We're fine. She doesn't come back. Movie ends and I can't find her in the lobby, the bathrooms, outside, anywhere. It's dark. I'm miles from home with no way of contacting anyone and my friends and I are all really scared. I ended up going into a toy shop beside the cinema, crying my eyes out and asked the manager to please help me. He calls the guards, Irish cops, and my friends and I get taken back to my house in 2 squad cars. My stepdad was absolutely horrified to see us coming home like that. I was really upset and in no mood to celebrate. We did the cake and presents routine and my friend's parents picked them up soon after. My mum eventually showed up later that night, drunk as frick. I didn't even bother yelling at her. It was a familiar situation and I knew there was no point. I cried myself to sleep that night. Then Monday arrived, and the girls had told everyone in our class what had happened, and nobody would talk to me. All their parents found out as well. Nobody was allowed come to my house anymore and I didn't get invited anywhere either. It remained that way for the next 3 years of primary school. Kids can be so cruel. Also, my dad died 8 days before my 4th birthday, and my granddad died on my 21st. Worst part of having an alcoholic parent is when you just give up and don't have the energy to get mad at them anymore. But all you feel in place of the anger is crushing defeat and hopelessness. I really hope you have better birthdays now. I was really excited for my 19th birthday. I was going to have lunch with my GF, hang out with my friends after, and end the evening with pizza at my parents' home, as is family tradition. Frick cake. The GF's mum picks me up. No car at the time because I was living with the GF and paying rent, and we go down to her university and she has to pick up some books, so we go to the bookstore and she kills 2 hours in lines and shopping for clothing. Not all the books were bought, so we went to an off-campus bookstore. Another hour or so in line. I text my friends and cancel our plans. We then go to the Olive Garden and she spends the whole time talking to her mum about something that the mum's most recent BF did. Started chatting up the server and mentioned it was my birthday to her. She wished me a happy birthday. GF looked at me puzzled. She had forgotten it. It's now 8 PM and we are driving home. I'm in the backseat and I call my parents and tell them that I'll be home soon. There's an accident down the road on the freeway. My parents call me and ask where I am. I tell them to eat without me. 3 hours later we are out of the traffic jam and I go to my parents' home and cry. Broke up with her a few weeks later because she was cheating on me for months now, and I was still salty about her forgetting my birthday and ruining that day. I hope you have a happy birthday. May it be less crappy than my worst. Thank you. The replies to this post are making all the difference. My cousin got her fingers severed in a door while she was playing hide and seek with my younger brothers. She was behind the door and had her fingers in the crack and someone entered the room and closed the door, shutting her fingers in it. They were able to reattach them and she is just fine now. I personally hid underneath a table while they took her to the hospital and cleaned up the blood. 5-year-old me was scarred for life. Fast forward to my 13th birthday. My friends and I went and saw the Chronicles of Narnia for my birthday. My father picked us up after the film was over and we headed back to my house for the sleepover portion of the evening. We are pulling into the driveway and as my dad opens the garage door we see our cat run across the spot where he is going to pull into. My friend jokingly says, "Hopefully you don't hit the cat," which is followed by laughter. The car pulls into the driveway and we hear an extra thud as the van makes its way into its spot. We all look at each other, of course hoping it wasn't indeed the cat. My 2 friends who were riding up front get out of the car first and one of them makes a blood-curdling scream. He yells, "It was the cat," and my other friend screams, "It's pancaked." I jump out and my father is trying to hide the body from us. He cleaned up the mess and buried her in the backyard while my friends and I all cried in the basement. My mother called each of my friends' parents explaining what had happened and informing them that their son may be a little sad tomorrow. So whenever anyone asks me if I have a cat, I say, "Well, I did. TL. DR. Fingers and cats beware on the 20th of December. My father is trying to hide the body from us. I'm sorry, but I couldn't help but laugh a little bit at that part. I just pictured him throwing a tarp over it and acting like nothing happened. 21st birthday. The week leading up to it, my now ex, thank frick, boyfriend had been ignoring me. Typical crap. So the day comes. We take a boat ride. Not my idea, but hey, who cares, it's only my birthday. Naturally, after we end up at the bars, working our way back home, and surely enough I'm drunk off my butt by the time we get there. So seeing this, he decides that now would be a good time to pick a huge argument with me in the middle of the bar, followed by a dramatic exit so he could smoke a cigarette, or so I assumed. It wasn't until I realized it had been like 20 or so minutes that I walked outside to realize he had left me there. Yep, that one definitely takes the cake for me. My wife was acting suspicious. She was closing windows on her computer whenever I'd glance over. She was keeping secrets. She was being gone at mysterious times. I was worried she was cheating, so I did some snooping. It turns out she was throwing me a surprise birthday party in my home state with all of my closest friends who I haven't seen in years, and also having an affair. Worst birthday was the 23s for me. Invited small friend circle only to spend some time at my apartment with food, cake and drinks. Later on we would make a local pub tour. One friend arrived with some booze as present. The two of us spent most time alone because only 3 hours later the other invited guests arrived. The later guests were all drunk, really drunk, but they were all close friends of me. Nevertheless, all the drunks did was eating the cake and vomit into the bathroom. After they were done with their exorcism, they left due to their conditions. I was left with 2 friends which I invited to an all-you-can-drink for free local pub tour. I have the thought of you celebrating 23 more than once. When I was 7 we found my great uncle's dead body in the yard during my party. Cops and ambulances closed off the street and most of my guests couldn't get to my house. I actually hadn't thought of that in a while. Thanks for reminding me. My 21st, my girlfriend left me. I got fired and kicked out of my parents' house. It was mostly my fault, but it didn't make it any less crappy. My life pretty much fell apart for a while after that. I'm 23 now, almost 24. Thanks to my biological father, an actual social life, and a new circle of friends I wouldn't trade for any goddamn thing, I'm doing pretty well nowadays. Sorry to hear that, man. Nobody likes you when you're 23. I turned 36 today. I got an email from my mom, so I got that going for me. 10th birthday, my mom got a pinata. My best friend was trying to hit the pinata. On his backswing, he clocked me right in the forehead, but on his forward swing, he broke open the pinata. All of my friends saw the candy and immediately rushed to it while I was laying on the ground bleeding with a huge gash right above my eyebrow. I had to go to the hospital and get 5 stitches. Turning 19 outside of Baghdad. On the plus side, we got to take off our chemical suits and I flew in a Black Hawk for the first time. I look at it as B-Day roller coaster ride. Had a few bad birthdays when I was younger. On 2 separate birthdays, I have had relatives pass away just a couple days prior. Those were not fun birthdays. At my 17th birthday party, my mom slipped on a rug and hit her head on the floor. She had to be rushed to the ER with blood covering one side of her head. Fortunately, the last decade or so of birthdays have all been pretty good. Throwaway, since I'm fairly well known on Reddit and want to protect my sister's identity as much as possible. For my 11th birthday, my mom took me and all of my friends to go see Pokémon the first movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back. Or rather, she would have. We had to stop by my dad's shop first to pick up my sister, who was 16 and a little too old to like the movie, but still wanted to come and see it with me. When we got to the shop, my mom went inside and found my sister crying in the corner. She told me and my friends to stay in the car, and I remember wondering what was taking them so long. Turns out one of my dad's employees sexually assaulted her. I was too young at the time to have this explained to me, and my mom took us to my sister's boyfriend's house to wait out the insanity that ensued. I remember being pissed that we missed the movie. Remember, I had no idea what was going on, and so me and my friends waited there for 2 hours until my mom awkwardly and tearfully came back and drove all of my friends home. Now that I know what happened, I am very ashamed of the way I acted that day. It probably made the whole experience that much worse for my mom and for my sister. My biological father died in a car accident on my 2nd birthday while driving home to the birthday party. Then, on my 16th birthday, my mom and stepfather decided that it was an appropriate time to tell me that they were splitting up. It was my 19th birthday. I was living in the dorms, and my friends got together and decided to give me a surprise party. This included them going out of their way to not see me all day, to avoid telling me happy birthday. All of my friends ignored me for the entire day, only to call me down to one of their rooms at 11 PM. I was getting ready for bed, ready to put the whole crappy day behind me. Instead I have to go down there to find them all drinking. They didn't understand why that was not exactly a fun experience. Well, they forgot the part where someone is supposed to take you out to do something all day before the party. My birthday is Valentine's Day, the day before my 23rd birthday. My now ex-boyfriend of 5 years gave me this hideous Swarovski necklace and then dumped me. I was a server at the time and spent my actual birthday trying not to cry my eyes out slobber into everyone's food as I spent my night serving lovey-dovey couples. I threw the crappy necklace in the trash. I would have sold it, but it was going for less than store value on eBay and Amazon. My brother's birthday is Valentine's Day. Every year he gets hearts and pink stuff. He hates it, lol. I had pneumonia on my 18th birthday. I was also having extreme nausea from my antibiotics, so I spent half of it throwing up and the other half on the couch. I didn't even sleep all day. I just watched a marathon of stupid chick flicks on USA. 16th birthday. I woke up to my parents fighting. No one even remembered it was my birthday. Then my best friend, who happened to be the girl I was madly in love with, stopped by to tell me goodbye as she was moving to Texas with her family. I told her I liked her before, but on that day I was going to tell her how I feel and ask her out. When I got back from saying goodbye, my dad was packing his stuff and they told me they were getting divorced. My grandma died a week before my 22nd birthday, so my parents and grandpa are planning her memorial service. She was cremated, and my grandpa has to pick a date. He goes, Friday sounds good. That particular Friday was my birthday. My stepmom didn't allow it to happen, but my grandpa didn't see why it was a big deal to have a funeral on my birthday. Thanks, Papa. Sorry about your grandma. I have to. When I turned 23, none of my friends had remembered it was my birthday. After hanging out with my family for dinner, cake and crap, I called up some of them to find out what they were doing. They were having a party at their apartment and I hadn't even gotten invited until I informed them it was my birthday, and I was feeling a little down. Not about the fact they didn't remember, just about something with some broad I was dealing with. So they finally invited me to the party, but when the booze ran out, there wasn't much left when I got there. I had to buy it because they were all broke. So, I got pity invited to a party that they hadn't even thought of inviting me to in the first place, and I had to pay for the booze. On top of that, I was kind of hitting it off with a chick, and one of my other friends needed a lift home. He bothered me about it until I had to give up and angrily agree, okay, fine, we'll go now. And when I got back, the girls had left and nobody remembered their names or how to reach them. So my chance or potential for having a chance had become lost in the universe. My past birthday I sat alone in my apartment because none of my friends, even the ones I'd known for 15 years, remembered. It wasn't such a big deal as I'm used to it now, but I would like to think my friends liked me enough to remember it was my birthday and want to have a beer with me, like I do for theirs. Once you're older than 18, you have to arrange your own birthday parties. I had a surprise birthday in 8th grade that was a great time. Friends were there and I will remember it always. No one else does. The next morning was 9/11. Probably a tie between my last 3 birthdays. Every year, I get violently ill on the week of my birthday as a result of a chronic stress condition. It doesn't give me that much trouble throughout the year but seems to reach its peak every year on my birthday. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.